Hi guys, my name's Craig, and I'm here with a bunch of folks here. We're going to actually go through Dr. A's Habits of Health. So many of us are health coaches, and just because we're health coaches doesn't mean we're not interested in being healthy, right? You know, the guy that the hair club for men. Not only am I the owner, I'm a customer, right? That's not me, by the way, but so all of us as health coaches are also clients. And every one of us has a coach. And so Dr. Anderson has wrote this great book, and I know he made it really cryptic, Habits of Health. What does that mean, right? Well, there are these like 8 to 10 primary habits that if we learn them and then learn to practice them regularly, our lives will become healthier. And so what we've decided as all of the health coaches, I said, hey, do you guys want to go through the book together? And they said, yes. Because sometimes when it's your job to be a coach, sometimes you don't really get into the book or you haven't read the whole thing. And so we try to do this once a year where we go through the Habits of Health book and get a refresher. And so tonight we're going to start on page 318, which is called Reaching a State of Ultra Health. So we're starting at like way down the road for some of you that are just beginning, but for some of us that have been involved in a while, we're working. I've been playing around with this ultra health kind of thing here for a little while, and ultra fitness for my racing. And so what I want to do is have this be a collaborative type of a thing. If you've read ahead and you've underlined or highlighted some things, I'd like to hear from you. And I've got a few things that I wanted to share as well that stood out to me in this chapter. So I just want to invite you to unmute and have this be a nice little discussion, and we'll go for probably the next 15, 20 minutes here as we cover this chapter. So who wants to start us off? Okay, well, thanks for coming, and I will see you next week. Ha, ha, ha.
I'll go, Craig.
Yes, Carrie.
Yeah, one of my things I really liked in it was that at the end he said that, you know, technology is going at such a pace that in 10 years from now, it could be, you know, there could be major advancements to long life, you know, and but if you're not healthy at that point, then what's it going to be worth, you know? Just so that's one of the reasons to go for it.
yeah. Well, and two, the other thing too, I think that it made me think of when you said that is what about the life that you have to live between now and the 10 years? Mm-hmm. There's a quality factor in that time when you're waiting for the magic advancement to happen. And the sooner you start to become healthier, you get immediate benefit. That's like a return on investment that's right away. You lose 10 pounds, you notice it right now. You get off medication today, that's a benefit to you. You start drinking more water, oh my goodness. You know, you get more exercise, going to the bathroom all the time, right? That's a double dip there. Yeah, so that's great. One of the things that jumped out to me was this thing called C-Reactive Protein. And one of you guys, one of the coaches that I work with went and, it was Brianna, and I don't think she's on tonight, but Brianna went and had her C-reactive protein levels, and she was down under 1. And it says here on page 318, if your goal is to reach optimal health, an HS-CRP level of less than 1 is a great start. But with ultra health enhancements, you have a system that can help you reach an even healthier state when your C-reactive protein levels reach is less than 0.5. And Lisa Castro is 0.3, by the way. So some of you know that name. It's crazy. But a lot of people start with the C-reactive proteins up between 1 and 3, and so that's your inflammation levels in your body. And so this program teaches you actually how to get those inflammations down low. And inflammation is such a disgrace to our health. I don't know the right word, but it's such a bad thing. You know, it leads to heart disease. It leads to chronic fatigue syndrome. It leads to joint pain. It's like just inflammation is just not good for humans. And so at the core of our nutrition strategy is not weight loss. It's actually inflammation reduction. And so if you lose your weight but go back to eating high glycemic foods, those are high inflammation foods, and your inflammation is going to come back, and you'll probably have weight gain as well. So I thought that was really interesting, just talking about C-reactive protein, and you can actually go get a blood test for that to see where yours is at. That's kind of fascinating. Barbara, do you have any comments on that? Because I know your husband's a doctor.
Yeah, at some point I was just going to go drag him in here, but it probably would have taken up the whole rest of the time. But it is one of those markers with the program that Tim has brought into his practice, that those markers are really critical in prevention, and that's what his program or his practice, and as well as Daniela's husband Nick, is all about. It's all about prevention. So that's actually kind of incentivizing me to get him to kind of hit that pretty hard, and he does with his patients when they've taken the test, and it comes back. But now I have the added kind of help for patients to say, hey, you can be part of our program and get you back into feeling really good about and getting into great health. So
great. So anybody else want to have comments about the C-reactive protein or that inflammation kind of things? Okay, so on the next we have is on page 321, and it talks about wine and alcohol. And so this is a pretty interesting topic. I'm not a drinker personally, and I don't appreciate wine or beer or really alcohol. And one of the things that I thought was very interesting on page 323, Dr. A says, well, first of all, what types of wine have the antioxidant? It's called resveratrol. Anyway, there you go. I tried, Marianne. Marianne's a nurse, so she knows some of these things. But anyway, red wine is the one that is the most, and it has most of that stuff. But what I thought was really interesting that stood out to me is that he says, should I start drinking red wine for its health benefits if I'm not currently a drinker? And it says, I recommend that you include wine in your ultra health program only if you're already consuming alcohol. Don't start drinking, because there are some downsides to alcohol as well. And so I thought that was interesting, that if you are already like the taste and like what that does to you, that 100 milligrams per day, I think that's about 4 ounces. It's not a whole lot of red wine, but yeah. So it's one. Yeah, 5 ounces. Or about 5 ounce or 6 4-ounce servings is what he says. Is there's a lot of calories in there as well, so that's another thing to worry about. Go ahead, Martin.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. If I remember it, it was 1 glass of wine a day. 1 glass of red wine a day is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of those glass of wines, and I promise I haven't had any yet. That's it's like they pour it and you're like, am I on restriction? So it's not a full glass like what normal people would put. So
right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's something that I will tell you, to be totally direct. I've coached in 6 years almost 1,000 people personally, and then I've had experience with all you coaches and your clients and all that, closer to 5,000 in the last almost 6 years. And what I have found is people that have an appreciation for wine, it ends up becoming their biggest nemesis. Because as you drink, you relax, and as you relax, your inhibitions go down, and as your inhibitions go down, you drink more, and now you've had too much, well beyond the medicinal benefits or the ultra health benefits. And so people oftentimes can hit this program and get the habits of health all perfect, but it's the wine that they constantly has them gaining their weight back, and they just struggle with that. And so that's one of the reasons why I've never acquired the taste, because I'm sure, just like anything, if I drank enough of it, I would acquire a taste for it. But I intentionally don't want to acquire the taste, because I don't want it to have to be another thing that I miss when I don't have, right? I have plenty of those, like milkshakes and French fries, which have no medicinal resveratrol in those at all. Barbara, did you have something?
I just wanted to kind of dovetail on that. I had a client or a man that I was coaching, and before he started, it was, do I have to give up my wine at dinner? And I said, no, it's your choice. But he was so committed to getting to his health goals that what he did, and he disciplined himself, that he just took his single glass of wine that he would have with his dinner, and he would divide it into 2 glasses. So he had 2.5 ounces and 2.5 ounces, and psychologically he was satiated. And he met his goal, and now he is, you know, he's on maintenance, and he's doing very well. And I thought that was an interesting way for him to kind of work the system.
Yeah. Well, and two, it's not, well, none of us are going to get all of the things right all the time. It won't happen. And the key to it is, can we, if over time, next month we get our water consumption better than we did last month? Are we healthier this year than we were last year? Right? If we can do that, even if you just added 1 or 2 more things in a year that were different, right? And you're healthier. That's really what it comes down to. If you practice healthier things more often than you practice unhealthy things, the likelihood that your life becomes healthier is really good. To me, there's hope in that. If there's no perfection, there's practice and more practice, and it's just the way it goes. I don't know. To me, as long as we take a minute and we do a gut check once in a while, we kind of look down and we're like, I still live in here. Like, this is great to be in here. You know, you get to wake up in this body, and you get to go to sleep in the body, and you get to run, and, you know, because where you live is actually inside here, inside your body. You live there 24/7. Even if you live in a house, you're not there 24/7, right? And so this really is the house you live in. And when you build it, even though it takes discipline, you get to live there all day long. I hope that's sinking in, right? You know, and how beautiful is it to know that if you needed to sprint across the street, or one of our coaches, Brenda, her daughter needed to go to the bathroom, and the bathroom was way across the soccer field, and she had to get there, and she had to run, and she did run, and she could, because she built a body that could run. Think of how practical that is. Nobody says, well, I want to get in shape and get healthy, so when my daughter has an emergency potty break, I can get there in time. But oh my goodness, is that practical, right? When that comes along, you can't wait to build health when you have the potty time. You got to have built it. So, and I like what Jason said earlier. You know, he's chasing around his kids, and his kids, I didn't know you were that fast, Dad. Well, I haven't been in a while. So anyway, these are some of those things. Anybody else? This is kind of a short chapter, and it was kind of fun. There was some stuff about dietary caloric restriction, where you restrict your calories down 20% on a regular basis, so your body's always in a state of like yearning or kind of wanting. You're sort of dominating your flesh, And I think that is a fascinating study. Did anybody else have any comments about that? That's on page 320 there.
I have a question on it though.
Sure.
This is books, you know, a few years old. Have anyone seen anything come out about that? Because I know there was some stuff. They were wondering if how that affects our state of ultra health. I haven't seen anything. So has anyone else?
I just know that when your body is constantly wanting, it's almost like you're keeping it fine-tuned by having it have just barely enough, you know? So you're not in a starvation mode, but you're just kind of restricted calories. And I think it said 20% is what it was. I mean, I've talked with Lisa Castro about this quite a bit, where she's working on kind of that tweaking those kinds of things to really kind of, I mean, she's an amazing, she did the other day, she said, the other day I was on my, my elliptical machine and I just wanted to see if I could do something. And I was like, yeah, what was that? She said, I wanted to see if I could keep my heart rate at 150 for 2 hours. I was like, oh, really? She goes, how'd you? She goes, I did it. I'm thinking, wow, that is tough. Above 150 for 2 hours straight. And she's like, yeah, I mean, she used to have lupus and all these inflammation diseases and couldn't even get out of bed. And now she's like this amazing picture of health. So anyway, fun stuff. So well, that'll conclude our chapter. Next week, we're going to talk about chapter 25 is brain longevity and protecting and enhancing your future of the brain. And so it talks a lot about, this is actually a fascinating chapter. On page 314, if you're one of my clients, we've talked about this. If you lead a stressful life, this is actually perfect for you, Steph. One of the areas where people have a busy life and there's a lot of things going on, taking time to go through the exercise on page 314, which is a mindfulness breathing exercise that you can do. And it will, the concept I've talked about is, you know, when you build your biceps, you lift weights, but when you lift weights, it's not like your muscle gets strong and big the first day. It takes a while to build that physical strength and start to see that muscle. Well, your brain has a bicep, if you will, and it takes time exercising it to build strength. And this exercise in 314 is a way that you can build that resolve to respond to stressful situations and not just react and get stressed out. And so excellent chapter here on mindfulness and meditation and building those physiological brain biceps. And so I'm super excited about this chapter. I think this is a lot of times in our world, we don't have balance or margin in our lives because we're reacting to life and things just tell us you need to be here, and we sort of just respond to life. And we can change that if we value what that looks like. We can actually put together a plan and start to do those exercises and actually become stronger to be able to handle those types of situations. So chapter 25 for next week. I want to really encourage you guys. These chapters are not too long, but if you take 10 minutes, I don't even know if it takes every day. I think if you had 5 minutes a day, or even just 15 minutes over the weekend or something, I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to get through this chapter and highlight a couple things that stand out to you so that there could be more participation next week on this. Sound good? Yeah. Don't wait till Tuesday, because Tuesday comes quick. So see what you can do to kind of maybe even just read a couple pages of that tonight, and then we'll see you next week for chapter 25. For those of you that want to hang around, we have what we call Jumpstart, and Jumpstart is where we celebrate the new people's lives changing for the previous month. and then we talk about some things that we're going to be working on for the month of January. And so we do this once a month where we celebrate new people, new coaches that have decided to join our community, the clients that are joining our community. And so we're going to go into that. That'll be about a half an hour, and then we'll be done for the night. And so you're welcome to stay around for that as well. Any comments, though, before we jump out? I know, Alex, I see you here. Did you have anything you wanted to add or say?
My house is loud. I got family all over here. So
I love that.
I just got home from all the sports with the kids and everything.
Great.
I just love listening to all of it. I heard everything. And I got to say, tonight was, by all means, I don't know, like an orchestra of amazing health conversation. Just everybody's story. So inspiring. It reminds me again of why I chose to be in this career of the health coach. Reminds me why I chose to get healthy in the first place. Super inspiring. Secondly, just the habits of health talk, and like I love what you said about, I can't remember how you said it, but it's definitely not an incognito title. It's what is this? It's the habits of health. And if we don't get that structure and those habits in place, then it's just transient, temporary things. And just hearing how people's lives are now, we live in these bodies. Like there's no possession that's as valuable as our body, other than probably our mind, having that too. And our mind is housed around inside of this. And if your mind feels free, but your body isn't, man, that's like prison. So it's really neat when we can do stuff. And I'm really inspired. So that's my just summary.
Alex, you just said something pretty profound. You have people that have a body that's crippled up and they have some type of a disease. Their mind actually is quite sharp, but their motor cortex doesn't work and they can't talk or they can't move, or, I know you've seen people like that. And imagine us, right? Look at that. My hands work awesome. And I have this body that works good, right? And my brain works pretty good too. And so taking care of that and almost appreciating it for what it is, because we can, right? It's like just taking care of that mind and taking care of this body and really honoring it, essentially. I don't know. There's just something that was really profound what you said, because I know there's people out there that don't. It's not that they want to or don't want to. They just can't. I know Abby she's here often, and she's a quadriplegic. She can't move her arms at all, right? And she's still working with us, working on becoming healthy, and she's looking into health coaching. Other people, imagine that. How inspiring is that? She runs her wheelchair around with a little thing in her mouth. She blows and sucks to move her wheelchair around, and she's talking about health coaching other people and being an inspiration. Oh my goodness, I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. You just inspired me. The junk out of me there, Alex. Thanks.
The neat thing about it is that there's sometimes people get on these calls and they think that we're some special group of people when we are the people. Like we're you and you're us. We're the people.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all doing this together. So that's what I love. It's just ordinary people together doing extraordinary things. So that's what I got out of this call.
Yep. I agree. So thank you all for tuning in. And if your Tuesday nights are something that you set aside, keep coming back. And I think hopefully we eventually are able to incorporate and it's like the habits of health will stack over time, and you just keep stacking them in there, and eventually you have enough to experience the life that you want. So Carrie, you've been a big inspiration. Jim, I mean, so many of you, I just have loved seeing your transformations. Mary, you've lost over 100, right?
50.
Over 150?
No, only 50.
Only 50. Wow. Okay, so you're in the club, with the 50 club with me.
The 50 club.
Yeah. And Gigi, how many did you lose?
96 pounds.
96 pounds. Okay. So and I know many of you have lost a lot. I'm not going through the whole list of all of this, but the reality is that we can do this, right? Those pounds didn't come off forever, but they're staying gone, right? And you're working it out. So,
Craig, I just wanted to say too that on my Facebook today, it came up as a memory that 2 years ago I started the challenge, and that's when we started.
That's great.
Exactly 2 years ago.
Unbelievable. So this is like your anniversary. Good job, Carrie. Yeah, one of the things we talk about we shared Carrie's story. Many of you haven't heard it, but as she was getting healthy, her body started getting healthy, and she didn't have a driver's license. How old were you when you got your driver's license?
I was 28, I think.
Right. And I remember she was inspired by this health program to go get her driver's license. Yeah. And she started living an adventurous life and doing these things. Like, I'm driving. I remember one time she didn't come to the Habits of Health call, and I said, "Where were you?" She goes, "I was driving." Awesome. So anyway.
And Diana's story when she said that she wasn't an unhappy person before, but she didn't really realize it, because you were happy. But a year ago or so, I went to a friend's birthday party, and he was like, I never would have said you were an unhappy person before, but now you're just like so alive that it's you can tell.
Yeah. I don't think any of us really realizes how awesome our bodies were designed to be. Like there's pretty good stuff, and it can come around pretty quick. Like it doesn't take like magic. It's just a couple of things being consistent, and your body can start to thrive, and it's unbelievable. I mean, it's believable. Actually, you've heard a bunch of it. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. We're going to jump into the jump start here. We're going to celebrate some new people getting healthy, and so you're welcome to hang around if you want. For the coaches that are here, obviously, we'd love for you to hang around. I'm going to stop the video and come back so we have a fresh video for this. Be right back.